The Alliance blog, Alliance. If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Salience. That's
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive Papa Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance. God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party. It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, the premier source for news and information for the entirety of the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, that used to be a much bigger deal a couple of years ago when we would talk about every single territory within the National Wrestling Alliance. It's changed significantly as of late, but there used to be hundreds of members and associates and affiliates of the NWA, and we used to talk about all of it. Man, my camera's showing a little bit more of the closet than it's supposed to. That's better. I mean, the studio. I made the mistake of having an energy drink before the show, and, well, I probably won't be sleeping tonight, but Jaden's here. And that's good because DKM will not be here. But it sounds like Jaden's doing some human beatboxing. So we'll bring him on in just a minute. It is Thursday. The 15th. Congratulations to Joe Galley of the National Wrestling Alliance on the arrival of his child. I believe Ivy is the name of her.
Ivy Galley.
Ivy Galley. Yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
At least it flows Ivy Galley, similar syllables.
Yeah, that's true. Coming up with the names for kids is hard. My wife and I had discussed multiple names before we settled on the names that we ended up going with. In fact, like we had she had for our the first child was her mom picked the name. I didn't get to choose. That was kind of out of my hands. For the second child, with a much better mom, she she said, "Hey, if it's a boy, I get to name the boy, and if it's a girl, you can name the first name. And if it's a boy, she'll name the first name, and then we'll switch middle names." And so that's fair. And we were going through names, and like one of them was like Sienna. Like, no, we're not naming our kid after a minivan. A lot of
Sierra.
that was also on the list too. Sierra, Sienna. Elizabeth was shot down because there was a Beth in the family already. But then we settled on Claire. And then the minute that I came up with Claire, I thought Piper would be a great name for a daughter. And so I thought that we were going to have a little Piper. My wife said, absolutely not. I like Claire. We agreed to Claire. It's going to be Claire. And I said, okay, if we have another daughter, we're going to name her Piper. And she said, sure. If we have another daughter, we're going to name her Piper. So I also have a daughter named Piper.
When you suggested Claire, did Michelle give you a thumbs up?
She gave me 3 of them.
3 of them in a row?
Yeah. It's what's also kind of funny about that is we were messaging the other day, and you're the only person in the whole world will get this. And she like accidentally hit the 3 thumbs up, and I go, Claire? And she goes, what? And I'm like, Jaden would be laughing at that one.
I would be.
How are you, friend?
I'm doing well. I'm shoving food in my face because I just got home from work.
Yeah, man. New job, new career path. Good for you. Glad to hear it. What are you eating?
Right now, pasta.
Yeah. We had go ahead.
Cold pasta.
Like plain? Like
yep. Grabbed it out of the fridge, brought it upstairs so I can get on the podcast.
Is it just noodles?
Well, pasta. Noodles are technically different, but yes.
With no seasoning, no flavor?
Nope, just cold, flavorless pasta. Squigglies, though.
Sure. Okay. Squiggly it is. That sounds awful, bro.
Yeah. Okay? That's okay. All those extra calories, I don't need them anyway. I should have eaten pasta, but it was available. And I was hungry, and I wanted to get on this podcast to talk about the NWA and other stuff.
We had shepherd's pie, but my wife didn't feel like making mashed potatoes, so we were going to have it with rice. And then we had some, I'm sure you'll know how to pronounce it. I can't think of what it's called, like focaccia, the bread like with like cheese and basil on it.
Prosciutto? No, prosciutto is a pizza bread.
Not prosciutto.
Bruschetta?
No, it's like
no, that's tomatoes.
Foggia or something.
It's sure.
You are
a couple extra ends in it, we'll know what it is.
You're a culinary masterpiece, and you can't think of the name for the bread.
I'm eating cold pasta right now, so that should.
Fair enough. Anyways, it was delicious. I had a great meal, and I'm happy to be here. We've lost a few viewers talking about food. I guess everyone else is hungry too.
The cold pasta chased everybody away. He's like, he's an animal.
What is wrong with that dude?
Yeah.
So, hey, I see that we have some people watching, but nobody's chatting. If you guys want to jump in, Steve G is in the house. What is up, Steve? Anybody else who wants to jump in? Of course, we'll read your comments on the air. That's what we do every Thursday here on the Alliance Guys live stream. Not to be confused with the Alliance Guys podcast, which is the same thing as a live stream. You just have to listen to on YouTube after the fact.
What else are we on besides YouTube right now?
Right now, we are on Twitch and on Kick. And I don't know how much longer I want to stay on Kick. I hear some bad things about Kick.
Is it a super kick?
No, but that's probably why I decided to even go on there, is because it could be the super kick.
Savat kick?
Savat kick. My favorite was the spinning heel kick or the spinning wheel kick. I'm not sure which one it is.
One of my favorite kicks It was the one Haku used to do. It was a stepping savant kick.
Oh yeah.
Man, he can knock somebody out with that for sure.
Our boy Sam Retro's in the house. You're gonna get to meet Sam Retro on the at the 76th anniversary show. Got to start making some plans for that. Whether we're gonna hang out before or after or both. But
hopefully both.
Yeah, the wife and I were making agreements and ideas, and she's gonna let me take the rental car so that I can first of all, so I can chauffeur you around, and secondly, so we can have an evening without restrictions.
Is there a Sensi museum we can go to?
No, Sensi, man, you threw it way back. Lou says BTW, I'm in. Lou, what do you mean BTW? Do you mean you're coming to the 76? Are you really? Or does that mean something else? Because Jaden, I think you and Lou would hit it off. Not only is he a funny guy, but he has a wealth of history and knowledge of wrestling and television wrestling. Oh shit! Luthez, my man. That's awesome. You're gonna have to message. I ordered a few extra shirts. I think I have one with your name on it, Lou. So I'm happy to hear that you're coming. Oh, I got the shirt. Do you want to see the shirt?
Yes.
All right, I'll be right back. Jane, just talk for a second.
Okay. So I just was looking on Okay, not sure what happened there. I was just looking on Instagram. Spencer Slade is going to be at the 76. That's really cool because he's also going to be at a Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event on Friday night, October 18th, at the Pennsville Middle School, located at 4 William Penn Avenue in Pennsville, New Jersey. That's beautiful, historic Pennsville, New Jersey. And he will be taking on Breaker Morant for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Championship.
By the way, talking about new merch, did you recognize this? Did you see this one?
I have not. I actually wasn't able to see very well until you pulled it up.
Yeah, that's it's the black and red, like no white logo. That's good for you because I know that you're kind of get offended by the white color.
It's very shocking with you, you know. You were all about the white.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, ooh, that's good. Alliance-wrestling.com. Make sure if you see somebody wearing that shirt, you come up and tell them you listen to the Alliance Guys podcast.
Hell yeah. And that I ordered. So I was telling Jaden earlier today, your boy Jay's been working out a lot. I've been saying my prayers, eating my vitamins, training at the gym. And I ordered that shirt as a 2X because I had been a 2X until recently. I also ordered this shirt as an XL, and it's fitting. So Luthez says the all red is very punk rock. Unfortunately, I won't have these shirts available in Philly because there's not enough time to get them shipped out, but they are available on the merch link in the bio, as well as we do have a few more hats and stuff. I should really kind of put together a catalog and just have a video play while we're doing the podcast, and every hour or so just play a video with commercials on it. But it's pretty dope. I like this shirt. And Steve said, J-Cal, what, the red hat with your logo? Are you saying you want a hat like this that's red with the black, like this logo on the hat? Or what are you telling me, Steve? Because I can make things happen. It's a very easy site to navigate. We can make different merch, especially if it's logos that are already existing.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the last hat? Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. What was the last hat that you put on the site?
The AW logo. Let me see if I can pull it up here. let me see here. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I know this is real riveting content at the moment, but
Yes. And
so
by the way, everybody, I'm being held hostage at the 76. Jay is making me go by gunpoint. It's a water gun, but still.
look. I know that you aren't the biggest fan of the National Wrestling Alliance, but I do know that you're a big fan of the Alliance blog.
Yes.
And,
I'm going to hang around with Jay and all the awesome people that are listening to us, and all the ones that are not so awesome that are not listening to us, but they're pretty close.
right.
Even Big Chris Dog, I love that dude, even though he likes really horrible wrestling.
Really, that should be the name of the promotion. Really horrible wrestling.
I bet you that actually would probably do really well.
It depends on where it is, right? Like they used to do that $5 wrestling with Colt Cabana and the Freight Train.
Yes. Nothing but Daredevil Dave doll matches.
I mean, there's a market for it, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, some people are really masochistic.
Yeah. The name of this episode is called Bask in Our Glory. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but we are now at 31 episodes for this season. So Baskin Robbins. It's actually Baskin Our Robbins. I messed up the name, but yeah, there you go. That's
What's
cool,
your favorite
right?
flavor ice cream?
Man, I really like. I've been very adventurous as of late. My go-to always is cookie dough. I love cookie dough ice cream.
Me too.
The other one I like a lot right now is mocha almond fudge.
Candy will kill me.
Oh, that's right. You got the nut allergy, right?
Yep, everything but peanuts. Again, really weird.
I also like to mess around with the, and it's one that you can't have, is the butter pecan.
Nope.
The pecan and praline. I like that one.
Make sure you wash your hands when you eat that ice cream.
Yeah, well,
hey,
the last time we had ice cream, what did I get? I was very safe.
did you get vanilla?
Yeah, we had something.
We had sprinkles, right? Vanilla and sprinkles.
Yeah.
Soft serve.
It was soft serve. It was pretty good. I never had ice cream like that before. All right. Let's see here.
I don't know if it's a Northeast thing, but Mr. Softy definitely is, and it's a very unique thing. It's very delicious, but it's also not like what you would consider traditional ice cream.
Yeah. So that's the last hat that we produced on the website.
I have that shirt.
And I like it a lot. It was based on the Scott Hall NWO merchandise that never got released. And I just think it's pretty cool. The other hat that we have, it's not exactly for the Alliance blog, but for my Lucha Libre enjoying friends. How about that?
Nice. So now the Vámonos YouTube page.
Veamos, señor. Veamos.
Yes. The Venomous website is, YouTube page has its own merch now.
Yeah, just a hat. I'm going to work on a t-shirt too. What I wanted to do was get a QR code on the back so that when I'm at these shows, or maybe even in the front, so when I'm at these lucha shows and people are taking pictures, that they'll accidentally have to subscribe to my channel by clicking too quickly.
I actually know there's a guy who has his own little business, and he has a big QR code in the back. When anybody, somehow he has it, so when everybody just is in their picture, it just brings up his website right away.
So that's smart. Steve G, you want this hat in red. I'm going to write it down right now. It's going to happen. The original logo, well, the second logo in red. I'm going to make that happen, Steve. I might even do that on tonight's episode.
A red hat?
What's that?
A red hat?
That's what he's asking for.
Okay.
Hey, man, we're here to provide a service, man. And we have Steve actually, and I'm not trying to embarrass him here. Steve is very supportive of this channel. Like, if you look at any one of the shorts that get put up there, Steve is always one of the first people to comment, like, and share it and all that good stuff. And so if I can make Steve happy with a red version of this hat, damn it, I'll do it. And I apologize for it taking so long, but I'm making a note of it right now. It's on my things to do. Red hat. Things to do. Red hat, second logo.
I think I might have ordered that logo on a blue shirt, and it probably looks really good.
And Jeremy wants one too. Man, you guys are like Halo fans over here. I feel like these are Angel fans. Red hat and now the real trick question, Steve, is do you want the red hat with this logo, right? This one, or would you like it like a red hat but inversed, like a black Alliance logo?
That looked pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think I could try it. See, all right, guys, we're gonna end the show early so that we can J-Cal can do some designs here. Just kidding.
It'll remind me of the Stadium Series New Jersey Devils jersey they just did for the last Stadium Series. It's impossible to get because they screwed over everybody.
Oh no!
Yeah, I didn't get mine, and I'm real pissed off at that. Like,
what happened? What went wrong?
They didn't make enough.
Oh,
it's the last year that Adidas is doing the jersey, and they really went half-ass on everything. Well, the jersey's great, and I refuse to get anything Fanatics.
Yeah, the Fanatics stuff is kind of, I don't know, man.
Garbage.
Yeah.
I'll never give them any money, so I kind of upset that I never got my Stadium jersey.
Understood. Man, that's your boy now. My brain is just going a mile a minute. How can I do this? How can I do that? And the truth of it is I can't do anything right now. I don't have the skills.
Look at this one. Look at that one. Look
yeah,
at
right.
this one. Look at that one. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you look like a millionaire.
That's my girlfriend, man. I love that chick.
Is she your hall pass?
I don't have a hall pass. This was another hat I made, but the logo came out ridiculously small. But that's a one of a kind. I took that off the shop, so nobody has this one.
One of a kind.
Still has a sticker on it. Maybe I'll bring that and just hand it out to somebody. Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to put that with things to take. All right. Sorry about that.
We're brainstorming on air instead of actually talking about the NWA because it's more fun.
So Jeremy says that would be clean looking. Black logo on red hat. Take my money. Okay. That's the second thing. Steve, chime in there if that's something that sounds good to you as well.
How about the 76 on a red and blue hat? That same logo.
I could do that, but the whole thing about the 76 is it's supposed to be like a limited time. Like it's supposed to be just for people who are
those are the shirts. But the hats, it's a cool enough logo that they could probably just put that logo on the 76 and nobody will know that is what it's for.
You know what? All right. So that's the other thing, okay? 76 logo hat.
Maybe like a red hat with blue brim or something.
Sure. I just realized I have another Alliance Wrestling logo hat too that I'm going to put up here on the screen just for a minute too. I actually like this one, but I don't have one, which is funny because I'm a hat guy. I love hats. Let's see.
Me too. I got to protect my solar powered engine. Otherwise, then the ladies wouldn't be able to handle all that extra solar power if I absorb it.
That's fair. So you said blue hat, red brim?
Red hat, blue brim, maybe?
I'll look into it. You know what? I'll mess around with it later and give you some options. What do you think about that hat?
It's a trucker hat. I can't wear it.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't work for you, does it?
No, that's too much solar power. And plus, if you ever see a sunburn on somebody's head with the trucker pattern.
That's fair. I wear a hat like that to work, but I have enough protection on the top of my head, so I'm good.
Yes, I'm not UV protected. And also, hell, I got a sunburn if we change all the those little UV bulbs out at the same time at work. I got a sunburn from that.
That's very unfortunate, Jay. Now, we haven't talked much about wrestling, and there's 11 people watching the show right now. So that means that everyone's here just to listen to you talk, Jay, and your voice is very soothing.
Yeah, that's probably not true. But we do need to talk about some professional wrestling. So what's going on in the NWA right now?
Okay, well, that's fair. First and foremost, I think we should point out that they're doing their first live event, their first tour, and it's going to be in Queens of all places. Now, this is kind of interesting to me because the NWA has kind of been known as a middle of America type product. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful or anything, but, you know, with like, you know, like California, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, you know, even Florida to an extent, these are like hotbeds of independent professional wrestling. And I know that some of the top stars in the world of indies end up on those, you know, on the West Coast and on the East Coast. And I've always felt like the NWA was kind of meant to be in the middle of America. They're going to put this NWA on tour event in Queens. And there is some speculation that this show might be streamed live on their YouTube. Which would be pretty bonkers because we haven't seen a product that has been exclusive to the YouTube channel since this whole CW deal has taken off. Jaden, let me get your thoughts on it. Like, am I far off in saying that the NWA is more of a middle of America type program, or am I wrong in that?
I could say you're wrong with that because the modern NWA was born in New Jersey. And Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators was able to capitalize on the NWA name to draw. Philadelphia, Jim Crockett Promotions did very well in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And they've even ran places like Violin High School and other places in New Jersey when they were in the area. They did in Camden at one time too, back at the Jim Crockett Promotions. Okay. So they've also have gone as far up as like New York. One of their pay-per-views was in Long Island, I think, or something like that. I think they did this. The crowd was dead, but that's a Long Island crowd. They were there though. They packed the place. But like I said, that's a Long Island crowd, so it's not that's just the way it is. But yeah, I think the NWA could actually draw very well in the Northeast. Jim Crockett Promotions did very well. Everybody considers it WWF territory, WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But traditionally, good wrestling fans like good wrestling. I don't know if that has to do with the modern NWA, but I think it's interesting, though. They're at a Sacred Heart on the 27th of September, and Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators is at a Sacred Heart Church on the 28th of September, but it's a completely different building.
Well, and like, if we're going to be honest here, like, who came first? I think you announced right here on this show that you were doing that Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators was holding an event at the Sacred Heart in was it? Help me out. What city was that?
Riverton, beautiful, pedestrian-friendly Riverton, New Jersey.
So, I mean, maybe somebody is watching the show and feeding the boss some of our great ideas. Matthew Underwood says it's NWA Queens, baby. And then Sam Retro says,
since you're NWA Queens, Pollo should be there.
Beautiful. I think Pollo would agree. Sam Retro says, no, Exodus will be on YouTube. And now that one is not a substantiated rumor. That is fact. The NWA Exodus Pro anniversary show on August the 24th will be live and in color on YouTube. And I think that's a really big deal because, number one, Exodus Pro, I mean, you could look at the poster here. We're seeing a lot of names that are currently competing on NWA programming, the Slime Balls. You could see La Princesa Tiffany Nieves. You could see Carson Drake. You could see Kylie Page. And, of course, the world's heavyweight champion is going to be defending that title against Richard Holiday. Now, all this is going to be streaming live on the YouTube. No cost to you, the NWA fam. And what's even more important about that is that's going to be available to the international audience that has been neglected by the NWA. Since Power has been out on CW, there have been, a handful of matches on the YouTube channel, but this will be the first time that they put a full-on event on YouTube. It's something that, I've been screaming for a while now because you've got all these territories. And I know that, Joe Kazana Promotions has his YouTube page, and it'd be very easy for Exodus Pro to create a YouTube page. And same thing with the Page sisters for Crossfire, and the same thing with NWA Chicago. But it would make a lot more sense that you already have the audience that's built in. There's over 200,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. They've already have the capability of drawing people. They're monetized and everything else. Putting this event on their YouTube page for the NWA benefits really everybody involved. The fans get to see it for free. The NWA will make money off of that video being on their channel. They can hand that money over to Exodus Pro. If I don't know what the situation is with that, but it would be very easy to figure out where the money's coming from, and Exodus Pro could be compensated for their content. And ultimately, I think that just does it's a win-win-win. I don't see any drawbacks to that. Do you have a drawback to that, Jaden? Is there something that you see that's wrong with that?
I don't. I think it's actually wise, even if they don't make any money directly off of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think is that people decide to skip going to the event and watching it on YouTube for free. Which, if they really wanted to, they could probably region block it. I think that's plausible. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Holiday versus EC3 needs to be seen. That's 100%. A big fight.
It's such a good matchup. I'm surprised it's not a matchup that they were going to include on the pay-per-view, excuse me, on the Signature Live event. It just seems like that is such a big match. There's very few people in the NWA right now that have the same wherewithal that I feel like Richard Holiday has.
I keep staring at the guy in the top middle. That's like a 7-head, isn't it?
Yeah, that's PB Smooth. He is the NWA Midwest champion. He's a big guy. He's big all over.
Yeah, that's like 3 palm head. 15 fingers.
Our buddy Retro says, like, hey, look, it's also a good way to hype up the 76, which absolutely it is. But the only problem with like hyping up an event like that is that it's good for the live events. It's good for the live attendance to advertise. But like, again, you're already going to be watching it on CW. They're not going to get any more buys for it. If this was a pay-per-view, it would make a lot more sense. By the way, I do want to point out that our very good friend DKM, who previously was not going to join us tonight because he's not feeling well, is joining us here tonight. DK, what's up, man? Or maybe you're just listening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. Had the actual microphone muted. Yeah, I'm sort of alive.
Sort of.
And only in some pain. Which is why don't have my camera on, because trust me, you guys don't want to see me. But
DK was doing a photo shoot for his OnlyFans account, and he's still in his assless chaps right now, and he doesn't want everybody to notice. You have to pay for that content.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But I just came to see what you were talking about. I heard you talking about EC3 versus Richard Holiday.
Yeah, it's big money. They should have that as a part of this taping. Holiday should be on somebody's television, and I don't understand why somebody doesn't have him there, and especially if the NWA has the option. EC3 versus Holiday is a good matchup. I really would like to see it, so I'm going to watch that on the NWA YouTube. I don't follow anything really, unless it shows up as an Instagram reel. I don't really see a lot of NWA content, but I'm going to search that out to watch that.
Well, there's not been a match announced for EC3 yet, has there?
No, as far as I know, no.
Okay. So, possible we could get a rematch.
Possible, but you would think with that kind of name that they would at least have said Holiday was going to be there.
Maybe.
Well, and I don't know if this is what you're hinting at, but our pal Matthew Underwood just said Holiday is going to go over, I have a feeling, and then you do the rematch at the 76, and that isn't the worst idea Matthew Underwood has ever had.
No, and that's pretty much what I'm hitting at. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen by any stretch of the imagination because, one, it makes sense, and we know how much the NWA likes to stay away from things that make sense. But it certainly seems to me that it's possible they could be setting something up. So
sometimes I think the NWA likes to stay away from things that make money, let alone sense.
It doesn't make dollars. It doesn't make sense.
And I suppose some of it will depend on how much how sales are going, because maybe use that to try and jump sales if they're not good. I don't know what they are currently.
Would that Ron Garvin know Richard Holiday?
Well, only if he loses the rematch.
That's what I would think they would have done. They would have had him win it just to lose it. That would be something the NWA would do, because I don't think Holiday signed.
I mean, well, here's the thing. It only Ron Garvin's him if he sticks around, which I think is kind of what happened to, that one guy that beat Trevor Murdoch.
Matt Cardona?
Yeah, sure. And I think he kind of wanted, they were trying to do something with him, but then when he had to be stripped of it and went back on Trevor, I don't think anybody was really
clamoring.
Yeah, nobody was clamoring for him to get the title back. And so I do think that there was probably, I do think that kind of quote unquote Ron Garvin him, and not just him. I mean, you look through the history of some of those short title reigns, and nobody ever kind of really came back from him.
I can't say nobody. Dusty did.
I said almost nobody.
And I think Tommy Rich actually made the Georgia territory for sure, but I think it made Tommy Rich until his outside problems, caught up with him. Because I think honestly, if Tommy Rich was able to capitalize properly and have his extracurricular activities not interfere, I think Tommy Rich could have been a bigger star for longer and made a big deal of being an NWA champion.
I think, and again, I don't know really when he started to fall apart. But I think when you look at that, there was a point in Ric Flair's first reign that they were battling in kind of a thing of Golden Boys that you almost feel like even if it had been another Dusty short reign or Baba short reign or something like that, that there might have been a benefit in hot-shotting the title to him again. But by the time his feud with Buzz Sawyer was over, I know a lot of other things were kind of over too. Yeah.
And it's a shame too, because like I said, it really set the Georgia territory on fire, that hot shot double title switch. And it really was wildfire with Tommy Rich. He was hotter than 3,000 white suns at the time.
Why the sun's got to be white?
Well, it's because that way you would actually pay attention to him.
I'm not a racist.
That's racist. Somebody said that.
That sounds like something a racist would say.
Yes.
So does that. Anyway.
Jesus. Send all complaint letters to JCat. Wait. Not to me.
Yeah, I don't I mean, almost. I do think Dusty was able to counter, but Dusty almost more for the fact that he got a couple of other reigns.
It did help too, even if they were short. Even though he did have one that had a semi-decent length. Of course, he booked it, but
well, it was his longest one was this middle one. where he actually did world champion stuff and went to other territories and things. So it was like 5 days, 88 days, and 14 days. And
would you think it hurt Kerry when he got the short reign?
Yeah, I do.
In Dallas, in Texas?
I don't think it helped him any. I think he was already over enough. What hurt, well, actually, let me rephrase that. I think what hurt was that was kind of the end of Ric Flair's time. You know, because by the next year, Crockett was basically taking over the NWA.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Rick, he was kind of champion up until Parade of Champions. He was kind of like the world champion there. But then after he and Kevin had their double count out at the Parade of Champions, it was sort of the end. I think he came back only a couple more times. The last time to face Lance Von Erich.
Yeah.
And, you know, the big gold never made it here.
To answer Matthew Underwood's question, I think they just should have signed him up. Somebody should sign Holiday up. He needs to be on TV. He's too damn talented.
So
I don't like his little new mustache and his gimme flowers thing. It's kind of annoying, but he is too damn talented in the ring.
I mean, if it were up to me, I would probably sign him. I think he has a lot of the skill sets that anybody who's doing any type of show would want. So, yeah, I mean, if they were smart, they'd bring him in. If they were smart, they'd switch the title, but it would be more than a hot shot. I mean, I think the week later rematch should be kind of like a swerve. Wow. Which, since we're here talking about it, it makes it not. But you know what I mean. Yeah, but you know, he somehow maintains the title for at least a little while, 5, 6, 7 months. You know, he doesn't necessarily need to be champion for, you know, 2 years. But
yeah, I have nothing against EC3 too. I don't mind EC3 getting it back eventually, but I do think if Holiday does win it, he should have it for a while. I agree with DK.
Wow.
And looking back to one of the things in the NWA, especially when Crockett took over, and we did get those like 14-day reigns and 40-something day reigns of Ronnie Garvin, and then a 2.5-month reign of Ricky Steamboat and something like that, is that they did the title, those short title runs were kind of damaging to the wrestler who held them, because it was nobody ever, even with Ricky Steamboat still being there, nobody ever expected him to, you know, regain the title. And even when they tried to redo the big feud between he and Flair, and they did another trilogy over the WCW title, you know, no one expected Steamboat to win. And I think there's, you know, it's kind of like, I always found it funny because I'd say something like, I go, they should put the U.S. title or something on Flair. I go, you know, something to get him out of the world title. Well, why would Flair want the U.S. title? He's been the world champion. Well, Ricky Steamboat held every other singles belt there was after he won it.
Yeah. And a couple tags.
Yeah, and the tag a couple times. Well, I mean, I was so convinced when Sting was world champion, since they were actually giving him a reign of more than 5 minutes, although they horribly booked him. I mean,
yes.
I mean, booked him worse than Billy books things sometimes.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was horribly booked.
Oh, I'd probably go that far. And, I mean, he basically wrestled 3 people as champion. Well, hold on. 3 characters as champion. He wrestled
Black Scorpion, Sid Vicious, and who?
Ric Flair. You'll see most of his title defenses were against Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Because there was more money in that matchup than any of the others. And then the closest they came to building anybody as a serious threat was Sid. And then they did that stupid Barry Windham trick. So that killed everything. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up your history.
Yeah, what they should have done, he was teaming with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. So they should have had him feuding with Flair, Wyndham, Anderson. He should have been defending against all the horsemen. You know, I think Sid should have been booted. I never believed Sid should have been a horseman. So Flair, Wyndham, Anderson, he should have been circulating around them. And then they had some other people on the roster that could have got good matches. Steve Dr. Williams, Terry Gordy. And then had Mr. Wonderful turn on him and had a feud with him and Mr. Wonderful. That was so perfectly well set up, and they screwed it up royally. And Mr. Wonderful could have got a good long reign, a good long feud with them. Because don't forget, one of the biggest selling feuds of ever in the WWF for the WWF Championship was Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Yeah, people do forget that. And I think also, you know, they had a thing where Arn and Flair were supposed to be going for the tag titles against Doom.
Yeah.
And, you know, I so wanted them to win the tag titles because I just thought that would be neat, you know, to get them as tag team champions and stuff like that. And although I liked Doom, I liked Doom and was okay with the reign, but I never loved them.
Yeah, I didn't love Doom, but I did really like them a lot. So I wouldn't say love, but they were a very good combination. And they had good matches with a lot of people that people don't think of. Like, they had a really good match against the Rock and Roll Express. And that's such a conflict of styles, but they worked very well with the Rock and Roll. And I think they could have done the same thing too. And I agree. I wanted Flair and Anderson to win it. I wanted Anderson and Wyndham to win them, the tag titles. I think that was a lost opportunity of them never being tag champions too.
Right. And so it was a blown opportunity that I think would have allowed them to. I think if they'd actually put effort in it, and you know, they didn't.
Yeah, I had some pre-thought in planning this out instead of just half-assing it.
I don't even know who was booking at the end.
Ole.
Was it still Ole? I knew
Ole. Yeah.
I knew Ole was the one that first came up with the Black Scorpion without any planned finish.
Yeah, no payoff. But yeah, I really go back to EC3. They should pay him all this money. They should pay. Richard Holiday should get him into the NWA. There's not a lot of free agents right now in the NWA. There's some homegrown talents and stuff, but there's not a lot of free agents in the NWA that really could draw mainstream interest. And while Richard Holiday is smaller on that mainstream radar because he got most of his cred from MLW, he's so good. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers out there that the NWA should be taking advantage of. Hell, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP. He's a very good wrestler too. Yes, he's on the older, but for the NWA, he might be actually on the younger side. You know, but
Jaden, let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah. What do you think about a red brim on that?
That's the one. That's the trouble I'm having. I don't think I get it red brim. I could do like a red brim on like a navy hat.
No, I don't think navy would look as cool as the blue.
Yeah, they don't.
They'll probably also look good on a black hat too, but I like it on the blue. It's very American. What an
I'm these aren't final designs. These are just mock-ups. So hear me out here. I have one more.
Hear me out. That's DK's girl.
The Hawk Tua girl?
No, to hear me out, girl.
My wife, who isn't really on TikTok. I mean, she is, but she isn't. Never heard of that Hawk Tua girl until she was on with Bill Maher, and he was asking her about hip hop, and she said, "Oh yeah, like the older stuff, like Jay-Z." And then she said something like, he sings that song about the New York where like wet dreams and tomatoes are made of. And I'm like, oh my God. And my wife's like, I hate this person.
Yeah, you need some good hip hop nowadays, and there isn't anymore.
How about that?
No, I don't think the puppy likes it either.
Um,
If it was lighter blue, it'd be fine, but the darker blue, I don't think works.
yeah, I only got
It drowns out the red instead of highlights it.
Yeah. And then Matthew Underwood says the Hawk Tua girl throughout the first pitch. I saw that today, and I just kind of felt like they're just going to let anyone throw out the first pitch. I mean, now that I've seen Sion wearing the national title throwing out the first pitch at a Chicago Cubs game, and the Hawk Tua girl throwing the opening ceremony pitch at a Mets game, it's like I think I could be throwing out a pitch for an Angels game now. I've got the number one NWA podcast on the planet.
Try it.
Yeah.
You never know. Honestly, the way the Mets have been recently, she's probably going to get signed by them. She's probably the next pitcher.
A lot of these guys are in here talking about Ricky Starks. Do you guys want to talk about Ricky Starks for a minute or no?
What about Ricky Starks?
Well, Noob says Ricky Stark was great until AEW botched him like crazy.
AEW botches everything, and Ricky Starks was great despite AEW, not because of AEW.
Right. Steve G says Ricky Starks will be in Cody's faction, which, I mean, I don't think Cody's going to be given a faction per se. I think there are guys that Cody's looking out for, and I think Ricky Starks might be one of them.
Yeah, maybe one day he'll be in a good place like Lexus King and the other guys.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Lexus King because he's been doing work with Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, and that's good business for United Wrestling Network if those things continue to happen. Chris Drummond says Ricky will be good for a good pickup for the NXT. Matthew Underwood says I think Ricky Starks in the WWE is a mistake for Ricky. His ceiling is capped there. Yeah, I looked at a guy like Ethan Page, and I loved Ethan Page in TNA. Him and Josh Alexander as the North were one of the few things that I really liked about TNA from that time frame. And the more that I saw Ethan Page, I really liked Ethan Page, and I felt like putting him with Scorpio Sky was a great move, but nothing happened with AEW. And Scorpio Sky, I think, is still one of my favorite talents still in AEW. But I feel like him and Ethan Page could have had money, and just it didn't happen. It didn't materialize. And Ethan Page shows up in NXT, and he's now the NXT champion. He didn't hold a belt the entire time he was in AEW. And that just shows me that there's a disconnect sometimes where AEW does this great job of casting out these wide nets and getting as much talent under contract as they can. But the problem with that is you have so many great talents that you can't feature everybody. You just can't. And it doesn't matter what Tony Khan does. He doesn't have enough hours in the day to showcase every single talent that's on the roster in a way that they should be showcased.
Well, he has 5 billion titles.
Yeah, right, but that doesn't make it better. That just means that he's got more convoluted crap on TV.
Yeah, but you're saying he had never held a title. It was like, my gosh, between all the
right,
two trios titles.
No, you're absolutely right there. Like there could have been. Look, putting the tag titles on him and Sky would have been money. They were. I can't remember the team name. I think that was something like the Men of the Year or something like that. They had a good deal. They had that. Oh gosh, I think he was a Bask. An MMA coach or something like that. Can't remember the storyline right now, but they had a good. They had a manager type figure that was generating heat for them. They were excellent in the ring. They just never pulled the trigger and really pushed those two guys.
Yeah, I think it was the America's Top Team guy. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
Dan something?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I thought that everything that I saw from that was money, and they never pulled the trigger. So
that's because he left.
Sure, but even without him, like it's not like Sky can't talk on the mic, and it's not like Ethan Page can't talk on the mic. Both of those guys can cut decent promos. Though I guess my biggest complaint is like, if you don't do anything with them, then are they really capped out? I mean, let's look at Ricky Starks. He was a tag team champion in AEW. He lost the belts when he was teaming with Big Bill, who was a guy that a lot of people respect in the industry. He lost the belts to Sting and Darby Allin. That's kind of all right, if you ask me. Sting's a legend. That they wanted to send him out with the belt. Darby Allin is one of the top names in AEW. It wasn't like Ricky Starks did the job to the Bucks. He did a job to the legend that is Sting. And so I don't have a problem with that either. He was treated well when he was in AEW, but where was he going to go next? Was he going to be feuding with Maxwell Jacob Friedman for the Americans Championship? I mean, was he going to be feuding with Edge or Adam Copeland for the TBS title or TNT title, excuse me? No, they didn't have a good plan for him, as we see. Like, he hasn't been on TV in months. So I don't think that he was capped anywhere. And WWE has just proven to me that, look, talent is talent. Doesn't matter how the sizes of the talent. If they can find a way to use you, they will. And we saw that with Ethan Page. I think we're going to see that with a lot of these guys that are, said to defect, not defect. That's not the word.
Defect.
Dan Lambert was the guy, by the way.
There you go.
Dan Lambert. Yeah. Real quick. First of all, did you know Darby Allin likes turtles?
Yeah. I've heard that since he was a kid.
Yeah. Second, that AEW drops the ball when they couldn't make money off of, what was her name? I just thought about it until I was thinking about it the whole time while you were talking. Now I can't think of her name. The MMA fighter.
Marina
Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt, yeah. How can you not make money off of her? She had more personality than 75% of the people in AEW. And when you're talking about AEW, by the way, and Tony Khan, I was watching a video. The guy had the largest Transformers collection of all time in the world. And he was showing all the stuff, all the Transformers that he has. He didn't even know 75% of the stuff that he has anymore. He has so much stuff. And that kind of reminds me of Tony Khan collecting all those action figures, real-life action figures. He doesn't even know who he has on his roster half the time.
Yeah, I get that. And it's kind of hard to, again, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Tony Khan because it's his business. He can run it any way he wants to. But man, if I'm him, right? If I am Tony Khan and I have the resources and I know, like, hey, look, I can't do all of this. I have, analytic stuff for the football team. I have analytic stuff for the soccer team. I have these two things that are very important to my family. Plus, this whole company is mine, and it's very important to me. Plus, Ring of Honor. It's like, maybe, you know what? Maybe it's time to hire some talented people to help you run the show. And I'm not telling him to hand the book over to Jeff Jarrett, but geez, he's on the roster and he has some history with running successful wrestling promotions, or maybe not successful.
And TNA and Global Force.
Yeah, okay, let's. You're talking about Continental, weren't you? I'm just saying, you could focus on maybe some of the storyline and allow other people to handle some of the other parts. And I also feel like it's a big mistake not to have a more clearly defined divide between Ring of Honor and AEW and treating them as more like separate companies than as the same one.
Well, that's become less of a divide.
Yeah.
Because I guess, I don't know if he's on tonight, but James H. Jackson shared with me that I guess in Texas at one of the news conferences today, they introduced Athena as AEW Ring of Honor World Women's Champion or whatever. And but by the way, should Ring of Honor use world title things?
What do you mean?
They should be designated as a world championship.
No.
It traditionally has been, and I understand why they want to do it, but honestly, I don't think the NXT should be a world championship. So I don't think, because the same reason the Ring of Honor should be a world championship, because they're definitely the C show to the B- show that AEW is.
I kind of like the idea that AEW started with, where they had the AEW World Championship and then their TV title, which was like the it was the TNT title, or for the women it was the TBS title. I kind of like that. And like for NXT, like I could see it being the NXT Championship and then the the CW Championship instead of like the North American title. And I get why they don't do that, but I think that would be a way better arrangement, because like calling the title a North American title when it's mostly defended in Florida, that's kind of weird to me. When a title doesn't travel and we're going to recognize it as a world title or a regional title, and again, it mostly stays in the state of Florida at the Performance Center. That's not to me. I don't know. I like when the names mean something, and the names reflect the direction of the company. Like, the NWA has a world heavyweight championship, and we've got a world heavyweight champion who literally has defended that title all over the world. He might be the first NWA world champion to defend in Africa. That soft ground wrestling alliance. I think that's kind of a big deal. I know it's gimmicky at this point and it's been done, but what other world champion has ever defended on the continent of Africa? It's very few and far in between.
And not only that, but the previous world champion was the size of a small moon.
That was no moon. That was a space station.
That was Kyrus.
Yeah.
I think it's more than just where a title's defended, because, anybody had the money. You can, Tony has the money. He could go have his title defended in tons of places.
Sure.
Kind of does.
But if he goes to Africa to defend his title, EC3, he'll be defending it against a top guy from over there.
Yes.
That's the one thing. I mean, it's great that Nick Aldis defended the title in China, but he was defending against a promotional guy. But, you take what you can get. But mostly when they travel to these other promotions and other continents, they're defending their titles against people from that area in that time. That's kind of what makes it a world champion. What made Ric Flair a world champion was that Ric Flair was defending the title one night in Dallas, the next night in New Orleans, and the next night somewhere in Ohio, and then out to California, then to Hawaii, and all that. So
from Hawaii to Japan,
right? And he wasn't defending the title against Dusty Rhodes in all those places,
right?
He was defending against Kerry Von Erich. He was defending against whoever the top guy was there in
against
Hawaii.
Terry Taylor, against Ted DiBiase, against Rufus R. Freight Train Jones, and then against not Giant Baba. I can't think of his name now. It's Jumbo Tsuruta.
Jumbo Tsuruta. There you go. And then I guess that begs a question. Like, again, we're talking about EC3 and how he's been defending the title all over the world. I mean, he didn't go to Japan and face Matt Taven. I don't know why that was the first name that came to my head, but he defended against an All Japan wrestler. When he's taking that title all across the world, like, he wrestled against Nick Nolan when he was the last time he was in Illinois. He wrestled against Atticus Cougar when the last time he was in Ohio. When he was in Italy, he wrestled against the Red Scorpion and Elias. Now, I guess Elias was also a flown-in talent, but the Red Scorpion was native to Italy, I believe. And Tristan Archer, when he was in France, Tristan Archer is a Frenchman who has wrestled in the United States. I think he even had a deal with the WWE at one point, but he wrestled against a Frenchman when he was in France. He wrestled against an Australian when he was in Australia. He doesn't just face, an NWA talent. When he's facing an NWA talent, he's literally wrestling everyone around the world.
And I don't mind him wrestling a big name foreign too, as long as it's like a tour, like there's multiple different matches. So he gets some locals, some big names, somebody with the local star, somebody with a buzz, then say a former WWE star in France or whatever. So if he's defending it against multiple wrestlers that tour through in that area, and he has different challengers, that's great. And it's the same thing for if Pole Jump brings him back and he's wrestling against first an Australian guy, and then a former WWF guy, and then another Australian guy.
Yeah, no, I think we're saying the same thing.
It's okay, yeah, but it's great because he's got a plethora of champions and variety of challengers too, and top contenders from all over, not just big names that he's wrestling against. Because Holiday's not from Ohio or wherever the where the Access Pro is, but he's still a big name, and it's still cool that he's wrestling in Ohio against that guy. And I think EC3's wrestled against somebody local too.
Yeah. And then Matthew Underwood says something that's kind of interesting here. Shouldn't that be a requirement for the true champion? Like, in a way, EC3 is the successor to Aldis. Murdoch, Cardona, due to injury at least, and Tyrus were all transitional champs. I mean, there is some truth to that. Tyrus did take the belt to Mexico, and I get it. That was an NWA gig. He did wrestle against a AAA wrestler. It wasn't an NWA talent in Daga. So, I mean, to that extent, he kind of fulfilled what he was supposed to. Would we have liked to see Tyrus travel more as champion? Absolutely, but he was also pretty terrible too. And Murdoch, the same thing. I know Murdoch defended the national title in what was that promotion? DK, what was that Texas promotion that had TV for a while?
SWE?
Yeah, SWE Fury. I know he defended the national title there, and I know Murdoch defended the world title at World League Wrestling, and then also that one title defense for the Hope Alive charity for the Pope. But outside of that, he really didn't defend the title much outside of an NWA confine either. So, I mean, there is something to that, Matthew Underwood, but then, it's I don't want to devalue anybody that didn't have those same opportunities, because I think every champion is important because it takes you to that next level of the ladder, or that next rung of the ladder. We could go back to if there wasn't if Shane Douglas never threw that belt down, Chris Candido would have never been world champion. If Shane Douglas didn't throw the belt down, then Dan Severn would have never been looked at as an option for world's heavyweight champion. I mean, you had Severn as world champion. He basically saved the NWA, taking that title to all those UFC fights. And if it wasn't for Severn losing that title, you never would have had Steve Corino as champion or Hashimoto as champion. You never would have had a lot of the guys that ended up becoming world's heavyweight champion after Severn. And in each one of those
Colorado
guys,
Kid.
Mike Rapata, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a Mike Rapata fan at all, but look, he kept that name alive when the NWA was in a bad place. And if Rapata wasn't defending that title, it never would have ended up on it never would have ended up on somebody that would keep it going for the next one. We never would have had the whole deal with TNA wrestling. We never would have had Scrap Iron Adam Pearce or Blue Demon Jr. or Colt Boom Boom Cabana. We never would have had Rob Conway or Jack Stane or Tim Storm or Noya Ogawa. I know that's going backwards, or
Shinya Hashimoto.
Yeah, Hashimoto or even
Tenzan.
Hiroshi Kojima or Hiroshi Tenzin. Every one of those guys, they mattered. Every one of them did something to help the NWA. So I don't know.
Even if it's help them by being a bad example, like some other champions.
Sure, but I just don't want to discredit it. I don't want to. I don't want to poo-poo on it, if that makes any sense.
And to tell you how much the NWA championship meant to Dan Severn, that Dan Severn championship, the one that's very unique to him that they have out that he was when he was champion. You know, when he brings the autograph signs. He brings his UFC super fight champion. He brings his UFC tournament champion. He brings his UFC champion, ultimate championship belt, and he brings that belt with him for every autograph signing he does. And he's just as proud of that as he is. Yeah, he's just as proud of that championship as he is as all of his UFC championships.
Yeah.
You know, that was originally supposed to be a replacement belt.
I am so glad that did not happen.
Do you think they should replace or maybe update the 10 pounds of gold?
No.
Well, that's what our pal David Valentine said. And, Jeremy kind of backed him up on it. Said the NWA, time to make your belt bigger, like 20 pounds of gold. And the design could stay the same, just beef it up. I mean, they did that at one point when Adam Pearce was champion. You guys would remember the All-Star Championship belt where they basically just took the same design and made it a little bit bigger.
In a little more. I mean, they made some changes to it.
Yeah, I would say, like, no, I'm good with the way it is. I don't really think I'd want it the other way. You know, I liked it the way it is. Like, I think there's something so unique and beautiful about it and historic about it that I'd rather it stay that way, you know?
You know, the funny thing was I didn't like it when I first got into wrestling.
Yeah, me neither.
And because I just thought it was weird with those flags and everything. But it was one of those things that now that's why I hate it. And I heard Danny Deals on Power call it Sweet Charlotte. And it's like, you morons, stop.
Yeah.
The branding that they did with the title, the branding they did with the thing was the whole idea of 10 pounds of gold. I mean, look, Tyrus made a bigger belt for Tyrus.
Sure.
He called it
depleted the gold supply in Fort Knox just to get around his waist.
Yeah, I mean, they called it the 12 pounds of gold or whatever. And I mean, the idea that you have there is that what you have now is the Classic Championship, which, by the way, they need a new belt. If you've seen it recently, it's getting pretty beat up. It's starting to look like the Terry Funk belt towards the end when he's knocked off a chunk of the black paint and everything like that. And one of the plates is barely stuck to the leather.
That is a disadvantage when you're a traveling champion, too, by the way. That suitcase is not very conducive for the quality of a belt.
I was at the Primetime Live episode where
the globe fell off.
Yeah, Nick Aldis defended against Mike Bennett, and the dome literally fell off, and I was just like, holy crap. I've always had this image that the 10 pounds of gold is like a very holy item. It's a very
sacred.
What's that?
Sacred.
Very sacred. And every time I see it, I think, wow, what a beautiful title. And that globe, that popped out on it. And then Aldis is walking out of the ring and the dome just falls off. And I'm like, holy shit, man. It made me sad, but I also kind of thought it was funny. But Retro says, yeah, Jay, I saw that. And I saw that Aldis tried to hide it. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and Luther says it too, like, maybe we should just replace the Stanley Cup with a spittoon. Like, nah, I don't think you...
The Stanley Cup is not the Stanley Cup anymore. Here's the thing. It's just like that one ship, Archimedes ship or whatever it was. It's been replaced over so much time now that none of that material is the original.
That's fair.
None of that silver is original. It's all those bars have been replaced. In fact, the original Stanley Cup was small.
Yeah.
I love the Stanley Cup. They could still make the Stanley Cup, but if they would have had, it would be like, I think it would be like 30 feet tall now.
And look, I'm just saying, like, the golden arches will always symbolize McDonald's. That red can will always symbolize Coca-Cola. And when I look at the 10 pounds of gold, I'm always going to see that little face on my AWA Remco figures belt. And I'm always going to say, like, that to me is what the NWA is. And once you change that, then it's not the NWA anymore. At least for me. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but see, they have that. You have that belt right next to you, which was everybody still to this day considers an NWA belt.
I do,
big
but
gold.
Sure, and we could also pull up the Royal Crown Championship that they're using for the junior heavyweight title, because that spent some significant time being their main title, the World's Heavyweight Championship as well. But this title was featured on Raw. This title was the WCW World Championship. It was the Raw World Championship. So it always was one of those deals where it's like, this does not necessarily mean the NWA, where this means the NWA.
For a lot of people, that big belt, though, is the NWA championship.
Well, because that's what they remember when, after 86.
Yeah.
They remember those years of 86, 87, 88, 89, up until 90, that was the NWA championship. And then, when Ric Flair left, even though it was like the WCW title, but when Ric Flair left, it was kind of like the NWA title again. And then they brought it back when the NWA started up again. If the NWA had actually paid Ric Flair back his deposit and gotten the belt themselves, they tried to get it from WCW. And
yeah, but when Jim Crockett Promotions sold it, he sold the rights to the title too with it.
Well, what happened in court, the NWA, with WCW's help, got WWF to have to blur out the belt, because they said that belt had a standing as being recognized as the NWA World Championship. And so when Ric Flair said he wanted his deposit back, WCW wrote the check for $35,000 and got the belt. And so when they left the NWA went to court saying, hey, it's already been established that belt represents the NWA, and they shouldn't use it. And they stand up and go, we got a receipt here showing that we paid for it. And the judge said, well, okay, you guys can keep the belt, but you have to make it clear that it doesn't, that is not for the NWA, that it's not any other promotion's belt, it's not any other thing. And so that's when they went, they just called it the Big Gold Belt for a while, and then they finally called it the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship.
This is dumb.
Which is the stupidest thing on the planet.
I am going to talk, though. I think they should have update the NWA look, because the Triple Crown Cahagas belt could have been modified where it still has all the features of the NWA title, the globe, the flags, the black on there, the way it can be done. It could be a hybrid, I think, between the Big Gold and the NWA, and done right and be beautiful, because it still would look NWA like, and it wouldn't be considered a relic.
I love you like a brother, right? You know that, right? And all I want is for good things to happen to you in life. I couldn't disagree more with you. The NWA at this point in time is what separates. What makes the NWA special is that it has this history. Without that history, it is literally just Billy Corgan Pro Wrestling.
No, that's what it is. That's what it is. He doesn't care about the history. The history is only good for him when when he decides he wants to use it. Right. He is trying to use the NWA brand and making his garbage that he wants to call his pro wrestling. He bought the logo, he bought the rights, but he's not using it to its advantage. So if he's not going to use it to its advantage, he should just make a new belt.
And I don't disagree with you there, but he did pay for the 3 letters because of the historic prominence and value of it. And again, I feel like if you replace that belt with another, with a different design or an updated design, a more modern look, then you might as well, like at that point, to me, you're distancing yourself from the only thing that you paid for, which was the nostalgia of the NWA. Now, TNA fans, they grew up with the NWA World Heavyweight title in TNA. I grew up with seeing, watching Severn defend or wrestle in the UFC and having that 10 pounds of gold. And as soon as I saw that for the very first time, I went back to seeing, Ric Flair with that title, Dusty Rhodes with that title, Kerry Von Erich with that title, with Harley Race in that title. And so that there was that instant connectivity to that historic time in the NWA. And yeah, they did have this belt, a belt like this, that like really changed the direction of the NWA. But when Severn had that belt in UFC and Dennis Corluzzo was holding the belt behind him, walking to the octagon, I instantly had a flood of memories, and that nostalgia kicked in. And when you see now EC3 carrying that same style of belt, we know it's not the same exact belt, but seeing him carry the 10 pounds of gold, we instantly think of guys like AJ Styles, we think of Sting, we think of Ric Flair, we think of Dusty Rhodes, we think of Christian, we think of Abyss, we think of Raven, we think of, there's so much of that history. And I feel like if you were to say, okay, we're going to take this design, we're going to blend it with this design, and now here's our new belt, like, you won't have that instant connection anymore. And I'm not saying that one way is wrong or right. I'm saying that a company that's built on nostalgia, I think would be idiotic to distance themselves from that nostalgia.
Pepsi Cola still has a logo that looks similar, but they've changed it about 17 times in the last 30 years.
Sure.
Coca-Cola has a logo that they've actually done minor modifications to over the time. A lot of places have been around for a very long time, but they've done modernized versions of their logos and of their intellectual property to keep it updated throughout time. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I mean, there have been changes to the belt.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't look exactly the same as the belt that Ric Flair held.
Don't even have the same Canadian flag.
Right. I mean, there have been different things. I'm about to have to get off, guys, and take more painkillers and maybe try to sleep. Dave Valentine, the CWA World Championship, the old license plate belt, is the ugliest thing this side of the Mountain State belt. So if you ever bring that up again, I'm banning you from the show. And don't think I won't do it. And so
what belt is he talking about?
Remember the one that Austin Idol held in in Tennessee? Yeah,
that belt was made by somebody who actually makes plates, I think, like silver plates, not like a belt maker, right? If I'm not mistaken. It's actually made of glass, though. It's actually got stained glass in it. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, that was a belt they had to create because Jerry Lawler was going to retire if he didn't win the world title, and then neither NWA or AWA were going to put their title on him.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of stuck with shit. Now what do we do? So they created their own. But
that thing, though, if they're going to go with tradition, why don't they bring back the first Luthez belt that was about slightly bigger than a belt buckle?
I wouldn't mind if they did.
Really?
Oh, I love that belt.
Really?
But again, this harkens back to which belt is the one that's going to connect with most people right now. And
it's a big goal. And everybody talks about the NWA belt with Christian and AJ Styles. There are people that still don't even know that's the NWA belt. They call that the TNA belt.
Oh yeah, there are people who are stupid all over the planet, but it doesn't matter. Anybody who's into NWA nostalgia is going to look at that belt. It's going to more think NWA than TNA.
Anybody who's in NWA nostalgia doesn't want to watch anything that Billy Corgan's putting out.
I mean,
well, that, sir, you are totally true on. And on that note, I'm out of here. Oh,
why don't we just have the Gags the Gimp hold that belt then?
Look at that ugly MF.
I don't think that is as ugly. It is ugly. I'm not going to argue on that one, but I don't think that is as ugly as the Mountain State title.
It's close. It's close.
It actually looks better there than it did on any videos I've ever saw, which still is not much of a compliment.
No.
But
look at that. I learned that if I save something with a invisible background, it just shows up on the screen. Look at that. You can teach an old dog new tricks, man, and I'm learning.
Yeah, once you start doing the TikTok dances, that's when I know you really learn some new tricks.
That's never going to happen, my friend. Just no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Yes.
We can go full on Zodiac here.
What do you mean by full on Zodiac? Oh, what the heck happened there?
Hey,
now
the
we're
Zodiac, aka Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh yeah.
Yes. No. Yes.
Oh man, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I need to get this off my screen. There it is. There it is. Thank God.
You're doing everything but. Welcome to the CWA guys right now. With CWAalliance.com.
I wonder if I could register that.
Probably.
Luther says the main plate looks like something you'd roll a joint on. Jeez.
I guarantee it. Probably not Lawler, but I'm sure somebody else has.
I'm probably Lawler.
Lawler doesn't do drugs. He's straight edge. Doesn't drink. Doesn't do drugs. Doesn't smoke.
He doesn't drink.
Nope. Has never had a sip of alcohol on his lip.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed.
He's got a serious coke habit, but unfortunately, it's the soda kind.
Yeah, I've seen his legacy, his monuments in his home of the Coca-Cola products.
Yeah, he has one of the world's biggest Coca-Cola collections too.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And he has the original Batmobile.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of them, but one of the ones from the Batman TV show.
Yeah, from
with Adam West. He has
66.
Yeah, he has one of them.
Jeremy says Lawler's drugs was women.
Yeah, about 18 years old ish.
Let's be careful.
Ish.
Yeah. No, Luthez, I can't put that on the screen, brother. Oh man. Well, that was fun having DK jump on. We kind of derailed like what we were originally going to do tonight, which is
and we never, ever have done that ever on the show.
No. Hey, did I tell you that I got a Voltron Lego set?
What about the Goliath you got?
Oh yeah, did I tell you that my wife got me some more, and I got Xanatos?
Ooh, no.
So I got the Steel Clan robot, right?
Yes. Weren't we checking that out when you were up here?
Maybe. I don't remember.
We were at Walmart, right, or something?
Yeah. No, I was at Target.
Target, yeah.
And then Xanatos. Bam.
William Riker's never been cooler. Jonathan Frakes.
He literally was like the Tony Stark of that universe.
He really was. That was such a great show.
Except
for the season where they made it on Saturday morning and it became really lame. But
they were trying to sell days.
Such a great show. So, real quick, I just got something for Dr. Zirconium. I sent it to the Facebook chat. If you want to put it on the screen.
Boom. I'm there. That's the poster for the next event, which I believe, where's the date on it? There it is, September 28th, which is rapidly approaching, man. That's so cool. This event's coming together. New place, new faces. Goldie carrying I almost said United Wrestling Network, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship. Yeah, man.
It would look good as an NWA championship with some minor additions or minor modifications.
I like it for the World Wrestling Grand Prix. That's a great poster. Who designed that for you?
My poster guy. It wasn't what we wanted, but I can say my poster guy, the dog poster guy.
Yeah.
That wasn't what we wanted, but he took so long to get to it. We haven't. But I just want to say though, doesn't it look like Patch and Vinny the Fixer are about to drop the freshest album from 1976?
It's dope.
Dope
they're
album
ready.
from 1980. You know.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. We talked about that event on September the 28th, obviously, in Riverton, in beautiful. What did you call it?
Pedestrian friendly.
Pedestrian friendly Riverton, New Jersey. Breaker Morant will be defending the dog title. We have Goldie defending the World Wrestling
Championship.
Oh, I'm sorry, championship.
Yeah.
Well, title not
Titles what you give kings and queens. Belts is what hold your pants up. Championships are won and earned.
That's fair. I can live with that. I'll take that one. Yeah. So
got
that
Jack
event,
Tankers.
what's that?
I got Jack Tankers.
Is that an old photo or is that new? Is
That was
recent?
from his Ring of Honor days.
Okay. Is he still that jacked?
He's bigger, but he's less defined.
All right.
He's bigger overall. Like he's more like a power lifter body now instead of a bodybuilder body. His arms are big too.
Locally we have a guy out here who's been around forever, and his name is the Navajo Warrior. And Navajo Warrior is a former United Wrestling Network World Tag Team Champion back when it was the NWA Hollywood Tag Titles, or the NWA Hollywood Heritage Tag Titles, whatever it was. And that dude was, for Southern California, he was a lot bigger than most guys. He was beefier, but also taller. And as he got into retirement, like he still wrestles on occasion, but he's not a full-time wrestler anymore. He started doing some like powerlifting competitions, and that guy has gotten so much bigger. And it's like, wow, you're bigger now than you did when you were wrestling. He's just huge.
Can you put that poster back up for a second?
Yes, I can. Boom.
You notice Patch didn't need a fixture on the poster, but the dog tag team champions Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh are not. And that's because if we put Dave Dahl on the poster, last time the dog put Dave Dahl on the poster, it caused the pandemic.
Oh no!
And we don't want to scare and terrorize young children to have to see that poster around town.
Yeah.
Not only that, but there wasn't enough poster and ink to put them on there.
Well, you would have been spending a lot of your profits. Dr. Lawrence Zirconium, I know he likes to run a tight ship, and if you start printing out posters with that much ink on it, you're cutting into the profits from the show.
Yeah, events.
That's what I said in my head. It just came out incorrectly.
Not only that, but it'd have to be the size of Canada. And by the way, Dr. Zirconium is cheap. He could just say it. He's cheap.
I like the term thrifty.
No, he's cheap. Birds talk about him every morning.
That's fair.
Yep.
Cheap. It's not just what the birdies say. So, where do we go from here? I feel lost without DK now.
Well, let's talk about some NWA. What's going on? Any news on the 76?
So as far as the 76 event that's coming up again on August I believe that's the 31st, right? Yeah, the 31st. Yes. They've been announcing more and more those of the talents that have been locked up under contract. And like some of the names I don't believe were locked under contract before, like a Trevor Murdoch is now inked to an exclusive deal with the NWA. They announced that one of your favorites,
Spencer Slade.
Yeah, well, Spencer Slade's been under contract for a while, but Paul Burchill has been announced as being signed under lock and key. They're going to do a Meet the Stars, which will be included with admission. That's when you show up to the 2300 arena. The stars will be there to meet and or greet. And I'm sure there'll be opportunities to get autographs and unique photographs with some of your favorite NWA talents. Of course, the Burke Invitational. In the past, we have seen people who have won the Burke Invitational have gone on to win the World Championship. It's about 50-50 right now with the last person to win the Burke was Kenzie Page, who went on to defeat Camille for that title. Previously, I believe Chelsea Green won the Burke Invitational and did not was not able to cash in that opportunity. We know that Kayla Rossi will be in the Invitational. We know that Hollywood Haley J will be a part of the Invitational. It was also announced that Misty Marks, who I'm not really familiar with, Jaden, excuse me. I'm not familiar with Misty Marks. Do you know much about Misty Marks?
I don't. It's nice that there's some marks going in the wrestling right now, but I don't know much about Misty Marks, so she might be something to keep an eye out for. You know, the NWA occasionally does find some people that are well known, and all of a sudden we become big fans. I use Throwbilly as an example. You know, so maybe we'll pay attention. There's a lot of women wrestlers in the area. I think somebody was listening because I noticed Markova and Idol were at the Suplex shop recently in Philadelphia when Smashing Pumpkins was apparently the bad part of a tour with the Green Day and somebody else. And they were the downers because they didn't play anything apparently pumpkin wise that people know.
Yeah, well, what's scary is I'm going to be going to see that concert, and it's kind of funny. Like I get those notifications on my phone, like 1 year ago today, and a year ago today I was at the Smashing Pumpkins concert, and I'll still say this, man. I might not like the way the man books, but he sure can shred on the guitar, dude. Billy Corgan is a great guitarist. That's for 100% sure.
Just doesn't like bass players.
No. Speaking of Markova, I don't think they've announced her as part of the Burke Invitational just yet. Steve G just asked me, hey, are we going to put the brackets for the Invitational? Well, I don't think it's going to be a tournament per se. I think it's going to be more like a battle royal. That's what it was last year.
And the year before. Yeah.
At the 75th, it was just a battle royal. And Willie Bowen says, I'm a bassist, Jaden.
He hates you.
Yeah.
Me too, by the way. Willie, he hates you, Willie.
I also believe that, I do know that Kylie Page was announced for the Burke Invitational, and so was La Princesa Tiffany Nieves. There was another one whose name I forget that she's been working for. She's been working for Exodus Pro, Piscata. I don't remember her name right now. We know
Wasn't that what that bread something you were talking about, Piscata or something?
No, that's no, that's not it. And I don't know what it's called, and I'm not going to try to guess it. Lily Ruiz, they call her La Pescadita, which I think translates to the little fish. I wouldn't want to be called the little fish, but okay.
Little fish. Let me. I mean, that was Little Pig. Never mind.
Did you know that the voice of the wolf was Maynard from Tool? No, not the wolf. The pig was Maynard from Tool.
Yes, I did.
All right.
I was a green Jello fan, and I obviously am a fan of Perfect Circle and Tool and everybody else.
I saw all three of those bands this year. Not Green Jelly, but Perfect Circle, Tool, and
I can't think of it either. What the hell's wrong with me?
Pussifer.
Yes.
And you don't.
God, it makes me so mad. I can't think of that.
I recently saw the Foo Fighters play, and I saw Pearl Jam play, and I've been to a lot of good concerts this year, and I'm going to see Smashing Pumpkins.
One of the weirdest concerts I ever went to had Limp Bizkit, Korn, Uncle Kraka, and Stained.
That is a very unusual concert. I never saw Limp Bizkit live, but I did go to a concert that was Stone Temple Pilots, Godsmack, Stained, and there was one more band I can't remember. And that was one of my favorite concerts I ever went to. That unfortunately they closed down that venue, but it used to be by Universal Studios here in Los Angeles, Hollywood, and it's gone now.
Believe it or not, back in the day, Rowan University used to bring in artists all the time to play at Rowan. It might even be Glassboro State College then, I don't remember. And I saw the Gin Blossoms there.
Oh, and I heard it from you until I hear it from you. That's Gin Blossoms, right?
No.
Hey, Jealousy?
Hey, Jealousy, yeah.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
You know, a band that I slept on as a kid, but I started to enjoy now was
Sheets?
no. Yeah, there you go. What was it? Now I forgot their name.
This is what happens when you get old, guys.
Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Toad the Wet Sprocket. Sprocketsy Deutsch.
I stayed away from it because that was Chelsea Clinton's favorite band, and I was like, I don't want to like anything Chelsea Clinton likes. Actually,
What about
pretty good.
Chelsea Green?
You know who's a big fan of Chelsea Green is Willie Bowen.
I was going to say Matt Cardona, but
yeah, he is too. No, I kid. Willie Bowen saying some pretty some things that I can't post on the screen about Chelsea Green. Our pal Championship Wrestling from Jeremy says the best concert he ever went to was ZZ Top Afterburner.
that wasn't the best concert. Best half a concert I ever went to was Alice Cooper. And the worst half a concert I went to was the Scorpions.
Really, Scorpions, huh?
Same concert, but Scorpions were so bad and they refused to play Rock You Like a Hurricane.
What's the point? The best performance I ever saw at a concert, and I kid you not, and I'm not a huge country music fan, but Garth Brooks, man, that dude rocked so hard.
Do you know who my favorite band ever was?
Who?
Dr. Skitch and the Shrimp Shock Shooters.
They brought us here for They Are Spartacus.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite movies, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, there's a lot of great bass players out there. There's Les Claypool from Primus, and there's Flea, and then there's Zoot. No, Zoot's what's his name from the Electric Mayhem. God, I can't have his name now. It's not Zoot.
To get old.
I know it's so horrible, but a lot of great bass players out there. Hulk Hogan. I was just kidding on that one, but
you know he was
Billy Corgan hates them all.
You know, Billy. If you ask Hulk Hogan, he'd tell you he was in Metallica.
Yes, that's where he was going to be, or something like that.
I was trying to explain to
and
my
the Rock,
wife.
You know, the Rock told Metallica to play rock heavy metal instead of what they were going to play.
Well, I heard the Rock was the reason why they fired Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
I don't know that story, but I was trying to explain to my wife, who knows who Metallica is but doesn't know who Megadeth is. She's like she tiptoes in the metal, and right now she's listening to like the newer metal stuff. And I was telling her like, oh yeah. She goes, oh, I've never heard this song before. And it was Paranoid by Megadeth. And I'm like, yeah, this is a great song. And I go, what's crazy is that Dave Mustaine was in Metallica for a while. And he goes, really? What happened? And I go, I honestly don't know what happened, but they kicked him out. And he's like, F you, I'm going to do my own band with, you know, Hookers and Blow, and came out with Megadeth. And it was incredible. And you know, I know Metallica is commercially more successful and more popular, but it's kind of amazing that Dave Mustaine was able to put together a band that at sometimes rivaled in popularity with Metallica.
Yeah, completely different, but also exactly the same.
Yeah,
Rick Boogs.
Yeah,
you know, Boogs should come up with Man Mountain Rock.
And Van Halen could, or not Van Halen, Van Hammer can just hang out there.
Yeah, how many metal bands use the V-shaped guitar?
I can't. I couldn't honestly. I couldn't name any. That's
if you kick out somebody in the music business for being a junkie, we wouldn't have any music. At least not in the metal industry,
no.
or heavy metal or rock and roll or anything.
I will say this: that Stone Temple Pilots was actually one of my favorite bands, and I got to see Scott Weiland both with Stone Temple Pilots and Revolver. And there's a lot of great artists that I miss: Chris Cornell, Scott Weiland, Lane Staley. Like that my genre of music has certainly got cursed by the drug addiction and self-harming people. But man, I miss those guys.
I love Stone Temple Pilots, and I also really liked the one he did with Slash, and I can't think of the group.
Velvet Revolver.
Yeah, I love Velvet Revolver too, and that's another thing that made me sad because it was such a unique conglomerate between the two that was so great. You know,
it was in a time in like that same space and time. Like you had Velvet Revolver, who did like a really cool like heavy metal type band, and then you had Chris Cornell, who was famous for Soundgarden, join up with, and he had just gotten off the heels of doing a hip hop album, which a lot of people didn't really enjoy. And then he joined up with the surviving members, like not that Zach De La Roca died, but the remaining members of Rage Against the Machine to form Audio Slave. And I love that band too. It was such a good band. And it's like, man, like, you know, how can one person be so successful with one style of music, with one genre, and then just turn the table, join a different band completely, and have a completely different sound, and it still be so good? Our pal Jeremy says he liked Alice in Chains over STP. I became a much bigger fan of Stone Temple Pilots later in life, but like if you ask me my top 10 artist album, bands, STP's in there, Alice in Chains in there, Soundgarden's in there, Pearl Jam's in there, Tool's in there. And I know Tool is the odd man out, but yeah, I love that stuff.
real quick, the Electric Mayhem bassist was Floyd Pepper, and it bothers me that I couldn't think of that this long.
Luth S says that he saw STP open for Megadeth. That's an interesting mix-up, mashup. The bass player for STP narked us out to security, trying to sneak backstage, scream like a white woman, damn care. Luth S has got some stories, man.
That's pretty awesome. The one thing I had a lot of girlfriends loved going to concerts, so I've seen a lot of bands that weren't necessarily mine too, like one that I was big fans of, Jewel, Tori Amos, the No Doubt. I've seen a lot of that. So I've seen also ones that weren't necessarily my cup of tea, but I've, girls like music. If you're trying to get some nowadays, you got to do what you got to do.
My ex-wife, I took her to see both Cure and Morrissey. I had a girlfriend that was obsessed with Tori Amos, and I don't think I had a girlfriend. I think I had I think I knew a girl who really liked Tori Amos. I think she would have left me for Tori Amos in a heartbeat. My wife, her taste in music are all over the place. Like, she has got the most eclectic.
It's eclectic. Boogie.
Like she likes country. She likes rock. So like we saw Gwen Stefani perform, where she did
No Doubt.
Yeah, she did songs from No Doubt and her own repertoire. I've seen Faith Hill and her husband, whose name I can't think of. Like I said, I've seen Garth Brooks twice, and he had a hell of a show. But then we've also seen like Incubus, and we've seen Perfect Circle, and we're gonna go see Breaking Benjamin in October for our 11th year anniversary. Jeez, I've been married for 11 years.
After 13, they become glorious.
Glorious. Willie Bowen wants you to know that this is his list of great bassists. It's got Paul McCartney, Sting, Gene
Sting
Simmons.
was a great. He's another person that I don't think got credit to how good of a bassist he was, even if he was stalking people.
Don't stand so close to me.
No, I was thinking of Can't You See?
Yeah.
You belong to me. Oh,
keep going.
The Stalker song. I'm not going out. My voice cracked. I had it for a little bit, and then it just It noped me. There's a nope. Put that back up. I didn't finish reading the basis.
Willie Bowen says, I wanted to make out with the Go-Go's. You and
all of
everyone
them
else in that era, dude.
All of them? Or
Yeah.
just Belinda Carlisle?
Why not? I never told you the story, but Michelle met my wife, MCal. She met Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters while they were shooting a video of Learn to Fly. Was it Learn to
Okay.
Fly? No, not Learn to Fly. It was the one from the movie with Jim Carrey in it. Gosh.
I was trying to say Beavis and Butthead Do America. Roller
Yeah.
coaster of love. Sorry.
That's really one of the only Red Hot Chili Pepper songs that I could tolerate. I'm not a big Chili Peppers fan. Let's get back to the bassist. I don't mind these shows getting off of wrestling for a little bit and talking some pop culture and music. Merle Osmond. I don't know who Merle Osmond is. Larry Graham, Stanley Clark, John Entwistle, Chris Squire, Verdine White.
Do you know who Sting is? I bet you didn't know he was a bass player. I thought you only thought he was a wrestler.
Look. Did you know that the wrestler Sting owns the name Sting and he licensed it to the singer Sting for like $1?
Didn't they do like a photo shoot together?
They did. Real quick, Jeremy says Belinda was a Bengal, Jaden.
No, Belinda Carlisle was not a Bengal. The Bengal was were a different band, and Belinda Carlisle was not a Bengal.
Our boy Matthew Underwood saw the Dixie Chicks, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, George Strait. So I've seen every one of those except for Kenny Chesney and the Dixie Chicks. I saw Tim McGraw. I saw George Strait.
I saw a website with chicks with. Oh, never mind. That's something else.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Read that wrong.
Everybody.
Read that wrong.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And I also saw about two girls and a drinking apparatus.
Nope.
Just one of those drinking apparatuses. Wasn't made by Stanley.
It wasn't chocolate.
Aren't you glad you tuned in this week, everybody?
My friend showed me that. He was like, "Hey, did you see this video?" I'm like, "No, what's it about?" He goes, "Oh, just watch." I'm like, "Okay, this is kind of inappropriate material for me, but all right." Well, wait, what? Oh god. Oh no.
Oh no. The horror.
And I've been scarred ever since.
Yes.
I think
there was only one of those drinking devices, apparatuses.
I think we're gonna end it here, guys.
Well, you know, the former goalie of the New York Rangers, his name, now I can't think of his name. Crap. It was a funny joke. I was going to say he can't drink anything that's because he has no cups, but now I can't remember his name, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Hey, we're going to call it a night, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the Alliance Guys live stream podcast here in every Thursday here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. We appreciate you guys being a part of this each and every Thursday, making us part of your viewing habits. You guys have made us all feel so welcomed and loved. And of course, for those of you that will be in Philly, man, the countdown is on. I can't wait to see you guys. We're going to have to meet up for dinner or drinks or both. Matthew Underwood really wants us to start doing some Joe Kazana promotion watch alongs. I do too. Just this was a kind of a weird week. DK wasn't feeling well, and then he still came on, and then we just went on tangents. But yeah,
we never ever do that ever. That's a rarity.
But I do want to remind you guys that if you enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. It helps us with the Al Gore rhythm. And the more Al Gore likes us, the more people see the show on YouTube. We are rapidly approaching 5K. And I know I've said that before. I know you guys are getting tired of hearing me say that. But we are like just like 20 people away. It's so stupid because my kids are like, Dad, when are you going to get that plaque from YouTube? I'm like, well, we're not going to get 1 million subscribers, so I'm not holding my breath for that.
All you need is 100,000, and you're only 95,020 away.
Yeah, I don't.
And that's almost 20 times as many as Nick Aldis's YouTube channel.
That was funny, right?
Yeah.
I saw that Nick Aldis has 257 subscribers on YouTube, and I could see him. and he's a ham sandwich and a jabroni, and I don't ever want to hear from him again. I take some satisfaction in that. If you want to help,
mentioned it.
yeah, thank you. If you want to help support the show financially, we do appreciate that. You could check out Trophy Smack to get your own custom title built. Once we hit 5,000, the wife said it's okay. You'll see the first championship belt I ever pay for will be from Trophy Smack, and it'll be an Alliance blog title. We're also, if you are looking for some energy and you're tired of drinking stuff out of a can, you want something that's a more powdery form, we've got WWE. And you could check them out for your energy needs. They also have hydration drinks as well.
The Beach and Peach is the best.
It is really good. I also like the blue raspberry a lot too. I haven't had that one in a while. I might crack that one open. And then the mango orange cream is pretty good too. Those are also delicious. And then the last thing is, of course, our merchandise. You guys have been asking for it. We've got some hats coming. I'm going to work on that as soon as I get off here tonight, of getting that logo set up so we could have a red hat with the black eagle, black firebird, whatever you want to call it. I think that'll be looking pretty hot. And then, like I said, for those of you who will be there at the anniversary show, get in my DMs. I should have a shirt ready for you. And if not,
slide in those DMs.
Yeah, slide in them. It's all right.
Slide in those DMs.
It's okay. Nobody has to know. It's just you and me.
And make sure to join his OnlyFans.
No, I have an only Dan.
I am not KevinOwens.onlyfans.com.
You know that when I go on TikTok live, that's what I have as the thing, is like, I am not Kevin Owens, and people still say, "Hey, you're Kevin Owens, aren't you?" No. Where am I? I'm actually skinnier than Kevin Owens now.
Okay. Can you do a moonsault?
You know what? Okay, I've never stepped into the ring, but I could do a picture perfect moonsault into a pool. I think I could do it in the ring too.
Do you land on your belly?
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
I've been fat most of my life, and no, it doesn't hurt.
I've done some pretty big belly flops. Doesn't matter, it hurts.
That's fair. All right, guys.
I'm better than the breakdancer from Australia.
That's not saying a whole lot, my friend. My guy, my dude, that's not saying a whole lot.
So what do I have to promote, you ask?
Yeah.
Put the poster back up. I could talk about Saturday night, September 28th, at the only true Sacred Heart that matters, Sacred Heart Church in beautiful, pedestrian-friendly Riverton, New Jersey. Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Apparently, this event's going to be called Unleashed. Didn't know that was a thing. But you're going to see the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion, Breaker Morant, defend against former champion Eric Martin. Whether or not he's busky or not, we're not sure. You'll see WWE and Ring of Honor superstar Tank Tolan and also OVW go against the flag bearer of the tag team of Dylan Mesh and Dave Dahl, a.k.a. Connor. You're going to see Patch and Vinny the Fixer, the Old School Empire, take on the world's sexiest tag team of Dad Bod and All Natty Adam Matthews. The World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship, David Goldie, the champion, will be defending against the Indigenous Warrior, Pat Sawyer. Marvelous, the incredibly popular, incredibly talented, incredibly charismatic Marvelous, will go against Paulo Pedro from South America.
Oh.
You'll also see Dylan Mesh and Dave Dahl, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Tag Team Champions, defend against the Riot City's Most Wanted. You're going to buy the entire seat for $20, but you're only going to need the edge. Bell time 7:30. Again, Sacred Heart Church, Riverton, New Jersey. The only Sacred Heart that matters in professional wrestling on Saturday, September 28th. Get your tickets. They will soon be available at the Sacred Heart Church and other locations around there once we figure out where we can have them. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also see a special appearance by ECW original and dog matchmaker Jim Molyneux.
Jim Molyneux. Hey, are you gonna get Goldie for this show? Is he gonna get him to come on?
Yeah, we'll get Goldie to come on. Do you want Goldie on this one, or do you want Goldie for the October 11th?
Whichever. I
know we're working on getting Tank for you.
We'll take Tank, and then we'll talk to Goldie in October.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get both of them for this one, and then I know we're probably going to try to get Falaba and God, I can't think of his name now. Spencer Slade.
Yeah, Spencer Slade. Yeah, that'd be great.
I kept wanting to call him Spectacular Slade, and I couldn't get that out of my head for some reason.
Oh man, there was some conversation to be had there about Spencer Slade and the Spectaculars.
Yeah, he is way too talented. Get him out of that joke gimmick. He's too talented.
Look, if it were up to me, Spencer Slade would be your TV champion right now. If I was booking the NWA, that's how I would book it. I can appreciate what they were trying to do with Max the Impaler. I don't think that they nailed what they wanted. I think the time for that is expired. As our pal Jeremy would say, Spencer Slade is no dick dancer.
No, but it could be a Dirk Diggler.
Sam Retro also wants to point out that Al Snow will be at the next OVW's NWA Exodus Journey 2. He'll be part of that talent scout that they do before the show as well, which I would recommend any talent in the area to check that out before the show.
Poyo, first of all, you need to be at that NWA Queens thing. Second, tell them to contact the Monster Factory and do something there for the same deal.
I have been telling Poyo that they should be booking Poyo for the 76, and it doesn't look promising. So we'll see. Maybe things will change, but I'm not holding my breath. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and you're always appreciated and welcomed. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time,